Imagine a sound that claws at your soul, a cry ripped from the depths of a mother's despair. Across the sun-drenched lands of Latin America, this isn't just a ghost story whispered around campfires. This is the legend of La Llorona, the weeping woman, and for some, the line between chilling tale and stark reality has blurred in the dead of night. Could the sorrow of a long-lost tragedy still echo in our world, felt by ordinary people, even those sworn to protect and serve? In the heart of Latin America, a vibrant tapestry of cultures is woven together by shared history, deep-rooted traditions, and captivating folklore. This rich heritage often instills a powerful sense of identity and pride, a connection that many carry with them even when they journey far from their homelands. For those who serve in the United States military, this cultural background often adds another layer to their experience, a personal history that informs their perspective even amidst the unifying structure of military life. One such soldier, his mind increasingly drawn to the haunting narratives of Latin American folklore, found himself particularly captivated by the legend of La Llorona through his bond with his friend Caesar, a man who carried the stories of Venezuela within him. Caesar spoke of the almost casual familiarity with the legend of the chupacabra, a bizarre creature that seemed to inhabit the fringes of everyday conversation. He also recounted the tale of El Cacho, a shadowy figure who played a role in the delicate art of childhood discipline. But it was the somber and deeply unsettling legend of a weeping woman, forever tethered to the waterways, that truly snagged the soldier's attention. Unlike the more fantastical elements of other folklore, this story was often shared with a hushed reverence, a sense of genuine warning passed down through generations. Some older veterans he encountered, men who had seen their share of the world's harsh realities, spoke of it not as a mere figment of imagination, but as a tangible presence. If you ever hear a woman crying with that kind of bottomless sorrow near the water, they would advise, their voices low and serious, turn away, don't go near. These weren't just spooky tales to pass the time. They were deeply held beliefs, sometimes even recounted as first-hand encounters, by American servicemen who carried the weight of having possibly heard the sorrowful lament of La Llorona. One still night at Soto Cano Air Force Base in Honduras, a young American soldier stood watch during the lonely hours of the night shift. The usual quiet of the base was repeatedly broken by a sound that seemed to claw its way into the stillness. It was almost always around the darkest hour, 3 in the morning, the unmistakable, heart-wrenching sound of a woman weeping, her sorrowful cries seemingly carried on the night air from the shadowy edges of the base. Initially, the soldier tried to rationalize it, attributing it to the unfamiliar environment or the tricks a tired mind can play. But then, his sergeant, a man known for his level-headedness and experience, also heard it. A palpable unease settled between them, a shared acknowledgement of something inexplicable. The sergeant, a flicker of something akin to fear in his eyes, instructed the young soldier to cautiously investigate the source of the distress. Armed with a flashlight that cut a weak beam through the darkness and a growing knot of apprehension in his stomach, the soldier ventured out into the still, inky night. But as he moved towards the sound, it seemed to subtly shift and recede, almost as if it were intentionally luring him away from the comforting glow of the base lights, deeper into the surrounding, unknown darkness. He reached a small, isolated area with a few humble chicken coops, their inhabitants silent and still. There was no living soul to be seen, only the oppressive silence that descended after the fading cries, a silence more unsettling than the sound itself. A cold dread washed over him, and he quickly retreated to the perceived safety of the office, the image of the empty darkness clinging to his mind. When the sergeant, his face etched with a silent question, inquired about his findings, the young soldier offered a weak, unconvincing explanation about it probably just being the chickens. The sergeant, his expression thoughtful and slightly troubled, didn't press the matter, but the shared experience hung heavy in the air between them. The strange, sorrowful crying wasn't officially logged or openly discussed again until the soldier was back home, sharing stories with his friend Junior, who carried the vibrant culture of Puerto Rico within him. When the soldier recounted the unsettling auditory experience from Honduras, Junior's reaction was immediate and visceral fear. "Man," he said, his voice hushed with a deep conviction that brooked no argument, "if you heard a woman crying like that in the dead of night, you're in real danger." He then recounted the chilling and widely known legend of La Llorona, his words painting a vivid picture of a mother's eternal grief and the dire omen her wails represented, often foretelling imminent death or some other terrible misfortune for the listener or someone close to them. The weight of this cultural interpretation settled heavily on the soldier, a chilling resonance that lingered even after he tried to rationalize the experience. Adding to the unsettling nature of the event, other soldiers on duty that same night had also distinctly heard the mysterious crying, yet none could offer a logical explanation, leaving them with a shared, unspoken sense of unease, a brush with something that defied the ordinary. The enduring power of the La Llorona legend also left its mark on the life of a Marine named Chirio Martinez during a pre-enlistment visit to his family in Mexico. Accompanying him was his pregnant girlfriend, whose distinct appearance naturally drew the curious and warm attention of his extended family. Amidst the joyful family gatherings and shared stories that wove the fabric of their connection, an aunt with a deep appreciation for the spectral side of folklore gently steered the conversation towards the somber tale of La Llorona, despite the well-intentioned efforts of the Marine's mother to maintain a lighter atmosphere. Intrigued by the hushed tones, the serious expressions that settled on the faces of his relatives, and the palpable weight of the legend, the future Marine pressed his aunt to recount her own understanding of the story. She shared her own unsettling experiences of sometimes hearing the long, drawn-out, and deeply sorrowful wails late at night while staying at his grandmother's house, a sound that always left her with a profound sense of unease, a feeling that lingered long after the cries faded. Later in their trip, the Marine and his girlfriend found themselves staying in his old family home, a place filled with memories but currently undergoing renovations and offering somewhat basic and sparse accommodations. One night, in the profound silence of the old house, a chilling, unmistakable wail pierced the stillness, abruptly jolting the Marine awake from a deep sleep. The sound was undeniably that of a woman crying, a deep, guttural sorrow that seemed to vibrate through the very foundations of the house, a sound so raw it felt like it was tearing through the silence. He felt a primal mix of fear and a strange sense of witnessing something ancient and profoundly sad, a sorrow that transcended mere storytelling. He could distinctly make out sounds that resembled the heartbroken cry of "I, mis hijos, oh, my children." The weeping grew louder, as if the source of the immense grief was drawing closer and closer to the room they were in, filling the small space with an almost tangible sense of despair. His girlfriend, also now awake, was visibly terrified by the eerie sound, her eyes wide with a fear that mirrored his own. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the crying ceased, replaced by the violent and unsettling sounds of animals fighting and slamming against their outside door. Paralyzed by a fear that seemed to grip them both, they remained huddled in bed until an uneasy silence returned. The following morning, their loyal stray dog, who had become a comforting presence and always greeted them with enthusiastic affection, was nowhere to be found. The dirt outside their door showed clear signs of a fierce struggle, but they never saw their furry friend again during the rest of their visit, leaving a lingering sense of unease and unanswered questions. Even years later, the Marine's ex-girlfriend avoids any discussion of that unsettling night in Mexico, the memory still casting a shadow. The Marine himself has never felt compelled to return, the experience leaving an indelible mark on his understanding of the world, a chilling reminder that some stories might hold a resonance that extends beyond the realm of simple explanation. These deeply personal and consistently unsettling accounts underscore the profound and enduring presence of the La Llorona, legend within the rich cultural tapestry of Latin America. A narrative whose roots some scholars who delve into ancient folklore believe may even stretch back to the complex religious beliefs of the Aztec civilization, long before the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors and the subsequent reshaping of the region. In the great Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, centuries ago, the stillness of the night was sometimes broken by the eerie and persistent wails of a woman, a sound that instilled fear and a sense of foreboding in the hearts of the inhabitants. Despite frantic searches by the frightened populace, the source of the sorrowful cries remained unseen, adding to the mystery and the fear. Some listeners believed they could discern desperate pleas for her lost children, perhaps warnings of impending danger, or heartbroken inquiries about their whereabouts, carried on the silent wind. This mysterious auditory phenomenon reportedly occurred night after night, only to cease as abruptly as it began, leaving behind a palpable sense of unease among the Aztec people, a possible premonition of the dramatic and devastating changes that were on the horizon with the arrival of the Spanish. In the aftermath of the Spanish conquest and the subsequent efforts by European scholars to understand the intricate cultures and beliefs of the indigenous populations, the haunting tales of a weeping woman repeatedly surfaced in their inquiries. Some early chroniclers and native informants suggested a possible connection between this spectral figure and certain powerful Aztec deities associated with childbirth, motherhood, and tragically, the profound grief of losing children. As centuries unfolded, the legend of a crying woman continued to evolve and be retold across generations, taking on slightly different forms and nuances in various regions of Latin America. In the 19th century, a poignant poem penned by Manuel Eulogio Carpio Hernandez, simply titled Llorona, offered a literary interpretation, depicting the sorrowful return of a woman brutally murdered by her husband, her grief echoing through the night. However, the most widely recognized and deeply ingrained version of the tale remains the tragic story of Luisa, a woman of striking beauty who dared to love and secretly marry a Spanish nobleman during the era of Spanish colonial rule. Despite bearing him 3 beloved children, their hidden happiness was ultimately shattered by the arrival of a high-society Spanish woman from Madrid who captured the nobleman's fickle affections. On the very day of his planned wedding to this new love, Luisa was forced to witness his ultimate betrayal, a moment of profound heartbreak and consuming rage that tragically led to the unspeakable act of taking the lives of her own children by drowning them in a nearby river, a desperate act born of unimaginable despair. From that day forward, the legend says, Luisa's tormented spirit, forever clad in a white and spectral gown, wanders the waterways and landscapes of Latin America, eternally weeping for her lost children. Her mournful cries are universally recognized as a dire and ominous omen, often believed to foretell death or grave misfortune for those unlucky enough to hear them carried on the night air, a chilling reminder of a mother's unending sorrow. While many rational minds might readily dismiss the story of La Llorona as merely a cautionary folktale intended to instill fear in children and keep them away from the potential dangers of water and the darkness of night, the recurring and often deeply personal accounts shared by individuals like these American servicemen alongside countless other testimonies passed down through generations, suggest that there might be a more profound and unsettling reality at play. Perhaps these whispers by the water are more than just echoes of old stories. Perhaps they are tangible reminders that some grief is so immense, so enduring, that it can transcend the boundaries of life and death, leaving an indelible imprint on the very fabric of our world. A chilling testament to a mother's eternal sorrow that continues to resonate in the quiet darkness, a sound that can make even the bravest hearts tremble. And maybe, just maybe, it's always wise to listen closely to the sounds of the night near the water, for you never truly know what sorrowful secrets the wind might carry on its breath.